Greg Casillo, FroKnowsPhoto.com. This week's show, or I should say Sunday's FroKnowsPhoto show, Jared and I talked a little bit about portraits and also about group shots because he had done that big group, and Jay had asked me, well, what had I done in the past? And so this is one of my recent big groups, and I thought I'd go over some of the things that I've done as far as posing those groups. I think that's the most important part of that in setting up people is that posing part. So let's go over that. Number one is the Lionville Fire Company here. I had done this group back about a couple months ago, back in November. And number one, they have something interesting in the shot with them. Let's talk about the setup before we talk about the people. We have the truck on an angle in front of the firehouse. We have the flagpole here. We have everything has a nice flow to it and a nice angle to it instead of being straight on. I like to show more dimension and bringing your eyes around in an image rather than having everything straight on all the time. So that's why I had put the truck where it is. Next thing is bringing in all of the people. Now, number one, when you're doing this, you need to be confident about it. You can't just be sitting back and meek about it. You need to be confident. You need to be strong about what you want because you get people to listen to you. If you're not strong about it, what's going to end up happening is they're just going to keep talking and talking and talking because that's what people do is they talk and you're not going to get the shot. So I will raise my voice. Obviously, I'm a big guy, so that helps. But I will make it known that, look, we want to get this done. We want to move on so that everybody can do the other things that they want to do. So that's what raising your voice and having that confidence to tell everybody what to do and how to stand where that comes in. Now, next step, once we have the items posed, we need to start posing people. Now, this is the best way that I have found to pose people, and that is always posing them at an angle. Okay? You start off in the middle. You get the two senior most people, in this case, the current chief right here, Mike Holmes, and the former chief right here, Richard Ruth. And so we have them in the middle, and then we start flanking them with more and less important people as we go out. Typically, especially in an organization like this, or say a big group photo for some kind of a Fortune 500 or 5,000 company, anything like that, any kind of a big company, you're going to have a CEO and CFOs and more officers that you would want to have in the middle. All right, so that's why we start them in the middle. And as you can see, it actually looks good with them in the middle since they have their additional stripes on their Class A uniform. It actually makes a difference. All right, it actually looks good. Instead of having them way out here on the side, it actually works. All right, so next step. We start off with them posed, facing one another in a V shape. If this was a bride and groom, we would do the same thing. We would have them in a V shape, but they would maybe be a little bit closer together, put their arms around each other's waist and behind, and then make sure that they're not wrapping their hands all the way around so that we can see fingers hanging out in between the arm and the body. Always hide that hand back behind so that there's not like this little growth that's coming around. That's what I call it anyway, and I get a laugh out of that all the time. So we're posing like this. Everybody is on that angle, and they've walked in really nice and close. And as you can see, the advantage of that is I can easily see everyone. I can see everybody's faces, and they can look right at me, and there's no issues. And so that makes it for a very nice portrait. Now, there are times when you might need a few levels of people. So what I've done in the past is I've actually had, might be the standing row, but then I might have a sitting row in front. And if I needed an even third row, I might have, a row of people sitting on the floor. If it was kids, I'd have the kids sitting on the floor in front. And then sometimes I'd even have a fourth row where I'd have a row of chairs behind, and people would stand on those chairs. And so that'll give me 4 easy rows. So chairs, standing, chairs seated, and then seated on the ground or on the floor. And that would give me 4 nice rows. And a couple advantages of that is, number one, you can still see everybody. Number two, you don't have to be up on a ladder in order to see everybody. All right. Now, as you see here, something else that I always look at is the hands. See the hands here? Some people have their hands relaxed. Like this gentleman has his fingers very nice and relaxed. But then this gentleman has a little bit of a fist clench. Well, you want to try and get everybody to relax their hands. You don't want it to be perfectly straight, which is still uncomfortable and stiff, but you just want to just relax the fingers, and not in that the fist clench position, just so the fingers are down naturally. Now in this image we actually have another row up here, which is good. Everybody's seated and facing forward, and hands on the knees. One other thing I will mention: when you have groups, you always want to have the hands at the sides. And especially with men, you want the hands at the sides. You never, never, never want to have the hands crossed in front. I always heard that called as a soccer pose, where your hands are folded, your fingers are folded in front of you. It doesn't look good. It looks uncomfortable, and it's much better to have your hands at your sides or behind the back with the fingers together if they absolutely have to be. You're much, much better off with that. Rather than in the front. It looks so uncomfortable and so bad, and just doesn't look good. I've never seen one of those in a good one, except for with women. With men, never. Just does not work. So that's the first one. And let's see what's next here. Here's another group. Same idea. Shot about 2 or 3 weeks before with another local fire company. Now, same thing. Their firehouse is in the back. We actually closed off the street in order to get this photo for about 30 minutes. All right. We started off with the chiefs and the officers in the middle, and then we worked everyone out. Everyone's in their uniforms. They're all on an angle, as I said. Fingers relaxed, all that stuff. But as you see, instead of being up, oops, wrong photo. Instead of being up high like I am here, I was actually standing on one of the fire trucks for this photo. This one, I was actually at ground level for this, and it's still fine. I can still see everyone's faces. No one is blocking anyone's face, anything like that, so it's not an issue at all. So this posing technique works very, very well. Next photo. There you go. Another one. This I shot in one of my classes that I did last year, and is actually publicized on the back of the local book for this night school. So that was cool. Anyway, we have one person in the middle, and then we have people on an angle. And the key to this, I think, when you're doing this, is getting their feet turned. All right. Once their feet are turned, they're going to naturally move, and they're going to be in the right position. But a lot of people will just try and move their shoulders or something like that, and you actually want to have them turn their feet into the right position. And then what I do is I say turn your feet and then walk in. And when they walk in, they get nice and close, and they fill the frame. Or fill in. There's less dead space, and there's no big spaces in between, and that's the best way to go. Now, in a lot of groups, especially like this group, I actually shot this at 2.8, which actually isn't a good example. But in a lot of groups, you'll probably want to go to f4, f5.6, especially in a studio when you're shooting a group of people. For a portrait, a family portrait, that kind of thing, you have 4 or 5, 6 people in that kind of a group. Then you'll definitely want to have a number of, shoot it at like 5, 6, something like that. All right. Next photo is a family one. All right. So I actually broke my own rule in this image, and I only shot at 2.8 because I wanted maximum bokeh in the background so that they would really be separated. The family would be separated from that background. Now, I also have here the unedited version of this image, with the exception of the black and white. And you'll see all these little spots. And they're really, really easy to edit out. But a lot of people don't realize what they are. And they're actually bugs. They're actually bugs flying around in the air. They take no time to edit out. Just the key to that is just to get the smallest spot tool you can. Just get a really small brush and then go in and edit them out. But anyway, yeah, they're bugs. There's a bunch of them right there. In a final image, I would always edit those out. You could even see them in front of the shirt here. So anyway, a couple things about this image. I'm on a low angle with them so that I can see the background. Very nice. It works. Shooting at a high angle, you're going to get all kinds of grass. You're not going to get that perspective, and it works a lot better. One other thing that I'll do a lot with groups is form a triangle. Okay, triangles are very interesting to the eye, and anytime you can get some kind of a triangle going in a portrait, you will end up with a better image, and it's more interesting because your eyes just stay inside of that triangle, keep bouncing around. One other thing with group photos, especially family groups like this, is you always want to try and have the eyes on different levels. His eyes are slightly higher than hers, and then the kids are on different levels. You don't want them on one straight level going all the way across. That's typically a bad thing, so try to stay away from that. All right? Kids can always be posed either in mom and dad's lap or in between. The younger ones almost always go in the lap. And usually the oldest boy or girl, we can either sit them off to the side here or stand them in behind. That gives you an even stronger triangle. All right, so that's a nice group photo. Now, last one is a good one. Same week, same family, or I should say same session. I think I photographed these guys about 5 or 6 times for all the kids as they've grown up. So anyway, this is the final one. And this group photo, I had set them down on a wall or something like that. And this photo is just priceless. When we have the boy, and he has a really straight face, but she has this huge smile on her face, and just love it. Now, if you can get shots like this, these are the ones that really, really sell. These are the prints that they're going to want really big. They're going to want a lot of copies of because they're going to want to give it to everybody. Then it's going to be the Christmas card, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be that. And so this is an image that you're really going to cherish. And with kids, you have to be ready. Getting kids into groups, especially when you're just doing the 3 of them, is really, really difficult. You just have to be patient and keep telling them and keep shooting and not chimp and just know that your shot is on in order to get the good expressions. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You have to actually go even farther and edit the photo. Sometimes I got to pull eyes or faces or noses or mouths or, from one image to another in order to really make it work. And I have done that. Sometimes the kids just aren't cooperating enough in order to make it work. So this is one of those times where I didn't have to edit a thing. In fact, this is actually a raw image. I haven't even touched it, haven't even edited it. It's so cute, it just stands on its own. So hopefully you guys have learned a lot about posing groups. And if you have any questions, thoughts on it, I'd love to hear it, especially in the forums. Greg Casillo, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.